Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Ashmit Kumar, and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. The Wall Street bucks weak global sentiment. Sensex gains over 300 points, led by heavyweights. Mid-cap index also ends with marginal gains. Cryptocurrencies crash, with Bitcoin dropping below 19,000 and Ether declining 10%. Investors fear further tightening by central banks as the global market capitalization of cryptocurrencies drops below $1 trillion. OYO revives its IPO plans as it gears up to check into the Wall Street, files fresh papers with SEBI to hit the markets in the fourth quarter. OYO's losses shrink in the first quarter, and the company has turned EBITDA positive. Ola plans to lay off at least 500 employees across its software teams as it grapples with poor e-scooter sales. The company says it is centralizing operations to minimize redundancy. Ola had to lay off 2,000 employees earlier when it shut down its pre-owned car business. Ukraine's military claims to have repelled Russian attacks on Kherson and Kharkiv. Ukraine's President Zelensky says there will be no let-up in the counter-offensive to regain lost territory. Meanwhile, Russian pop star Alla Pugachev speaks out against the war in Ukraine. Iconic sports car brand Porsche is planning to raise more than $9 billion through an initial public offer. Parent company Volkswagen is eyeing a valuation of $75 billion for what is likely to be Europe's largest listing in more than a decade. And world leaders, including heads of states from US, France, Germany and others, are in London to attend the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. India's President Draupadi Murmu is also in attendance. The 96-year-old monarch will be laid to rest after 11 days of her death. Well, let's start with the day's market action. The sentiment was downbeat across the world as investors braced for more rate hikes from the US Federal Reserve later this week. But stocks in India managed to buck the trend. Sensex gained over 300 points and the Nifty gained nearly 100 points. Anuj Singhal is joining us now with a quick market wrap.
Well, the theme for the Indian market has been outperformance, and that continued today, though in the first 15 minutes it looked like the market was collapsing, but then there was big comeback. There were a lot of stocks which did well. Autos did well, some of the banks, ex of ICICI, consumption did well. The go-to sector once again, though, was cement. What a rally it's been for that space. The broader market, though, was down for second day running in terms of advanced decline. On the index, we had Mahindra, Bajaj Finance, SBI Life, and then some of the heavies like Hindustan Unilever, HDFC, and ITC, which did quite well. On the losing side, ICICI Bank, which has been otherwise a strong stock, was down today. Tata Steel and Tata Motors. In the F&O space, the top two gainers were cement stocks, India Cement and Ambuja. Big moves in both these names. Escorts was the other one, which did well. And on the losing side, we had Canfin Homes as a top loser, followed by Delta Corp and GNFC.
So the Indian markets there bucking the global trend. And on the back of that, in fact, some bullish opinion coming in on the market. Ramdev Agarwal, chairman and co-founder of Motilal Oswal Financial Services, says that the Indian market will constitute 5% of the global market capitalization over the next decade. He also remains optimistic that foreign institutional investors will soon realize that India is a unique story and that India will get its fair allocation.
See, today India is about 3.5% of the world in terms of market cap. We are about about $100 trillion global market cap. We are about 3.5%. And in next 3, 4, 5 years, we are very. I mean, the way the world is today, I think India's gain in market cap share is going to be quite rapid. So we are heading towards in next decade at least to about 5% of the global market cap. I remain positive, optimistic that maybe with a little gap, FIs will definitely stop selling. But they might, as the earnings momentum is maintained, I think they would come to buy here and build the position of their portfolio.
Well, meanwhile, oil prices soar on the back of supply concerns ahead of the EU embargo on Russian oil from December. Meanwhile, easing of COVID curves in Chengdu province of China allayed concerns surrounding demand coming from the country to a certain extent. Cryptocurrencies have seen a big fall over the last few days. Bitcoin is below $19,000 and the overall market capitalizations of all currencies is below $1 trillion. Manisha Gupta is joining us now with the key factors responsible for this downtrend. Manisha.
Well, yes, it has been a sharp decline in cryptocurrency markets. Every crypto is down by anywhere between 10 to 25% on the weaker side. And this is ahead of the US Fed meeting on 21st with expectation that we are looking at a 75 to even 100 basis points of an interest rate hike. We have seen other asset classes take cognizance of that as well, but cryptos really seem to be taking it to the chin. So when you look at the overall global crypto market capitalization, that has declined yet again to below $1 trillion to just about $909 billion as of now. But the interesting trend is that you have seen an increase in the trading volumes here. That has gone up by nearly 45% to $69 billion for the overall crypto market. Within this as well, when you look at Bitcoin, that one is trading at the lowest since 2020. We have seen it hit 17,600 on the lower side. Bitcoin actually has been on a declining spree since it hit an all-time high of $69,000 in November 2021. Not just Bitcoin, Ethereum is down by 10% as we talk right now, and that has hit a July low of $1,300 as well. For Ethereum as well, since the merger went through, the prices have been constantly declining. It's just bad timing here, and the market has not been able to go on an uptick here. But these are not the only cryptocurrencies. When you look at Solana, Cardano, XRP, all of these cryptocurrencies are down anywhere between 10 to 15% as well. And when you talk about this year, we're down by anywhere between 55 to 85% down for many of those cryptocurrencies. An year which clearly is going on to the negative side. Even as we have done 8 months of the year, there has been not one single month that you have seen gains in any of these cryptocurrencies.
Right, Manisha, thanks a lot for that. Now, there's a fresh round of layoffs at the ride-hailing app Ola. The company is likely to hand out pink slips to at least 500 employees across different software verticals of ANI Technologies. Many of these employees are believed to have been working on different aspects of the Ola app. Now, the move comes in the backdrop of declining sales of the Ola electric scooter. Parikshit Luthra now joins us with more details. Parikshit, tell us what has contributed towards this round of laying off pink slips that we're beginning to see now.
Yes, Ola has been in the process of restructuring its different businesses for at least 4 to 5 months now. The latest that we hear that at least 500 employees across different software verticals of ANI Technologies and Ola Electric are likely to be laid off. And the process of handing over pink slips has already begun. These are people who are working on the software aspects of the scooter, software aspects of the Ola app as well. The company has denied in its report, in its statement to CNBC, that 500 employees are likely to be sacked. They have said that this round of restructuring will impact 200 employees or 10% of its 2,000 strong engineering workforce. They also go on to say that Ola wants to increase its engineering talent pool to 5,000 over the next 18 months. However, our sources are telling us that the number of those who are likely to be laid off across software and engineering teams would be around 500. Ola has also said that it is centralizing operations and is undertaking a restructuring exercise to minimize redundancy in the business. Earlier, Ola had laid off close to 2,000 employees from Ola Cars and Ola Dash. Ola Cars and Ola Dash had been closed due to restructuring. There were some employees in Ola Electric who had also been laid off. The company has seen the exit of at least 30 senior officials of the leadership team in just about 18 months or so. There also seems to be a plan to revisit the direct selling platform or the direct selling policy of Ola Electric. The company has now announced that they would be opening up 200 additional experience centers all across the country. And all this coming in the backdrop of declining sales since April. April, we saw the company selling at least 12,700 scooters. Now, this has come down in August to about 3,351. So on a month-on-month basis, the sales have been declining continuously. And what was reported in August was their lowest in about 7 months.
Right, Parikshit, thanks a lot for that update. Let's move forward now. E-commerce platform .pe has raised $58 million in its Series B round of funding led by Temasek. The funding round also saw participation from existing investors like PayU, InfoEdge Ventures and others. The company plans to use the money to expand its merchant base by 3 times in the next 2 years. Shares of tea manufacturer McLeod Russell hit upper circuit for the second straight day. The stock is rallying on a possible takeover of the company by Carbon Resources. Now, lenders of McLeod Russell have received a non-binding letter of intent from Carbon Resources to acquire controlling stake in the company. CNBC-TV18 has accessed this letter, in which Carbon Resources has offered to infuse upfront equity worth 300 crore rupees and fresh debt worth 900 crore rupees to repay the debt obligations to existing lenders. Canada-based fund Ontario Teachers Pension Plan will be picking up 30% stake in Mahindra Susten, the Mahindra Group's renewable energy arm, an equity value of 2,371 crore rupees. The deal also entails the setting up of an infrastructure investment trust. The Mahindra Group and Ontario Teachers will jointly explore selling an additional 9.99% stake by the end of this fiscal year. After Adani Group completed the acquisition of Ambuja Cements, in fact, has sought shareholder approval for a 20,000 crore rupee cash infusion. In its EGM on October 8th, the cement major will seek approval for allotment of nearly 48 crore warrants at nearly 419 rupees to promoter group Harmonia Trade and Investments. The company will also seek approval for the appointment of Gautam Adani and others on the board. Speaking about the cement foray, Gautam Adani set a target of doubling the capacity in just 5 years.
We expect significant margin expansion to become the most profitable cement manufacturer in the country. And we anticipate going from the current 70 million tons capacity to 140 million tons in the next 5 years.
Well, staying with news from the group, Adani Wilmar, company behind Fortune and recently acquired Kohinoor brand, is expanding its ready-to-cook segment with rice-based products. While the company is ready to foray a launch a do-it-yourself biryani kit under the Kohinoor brand this fiscal, it is also working on Mexican rice, Thai rice and fried rice. The company told CNBC-TV18 that the focus remains on the ready-to-cook segment rather than the ready-to-eat products, adding that it would launch more localized variants of poha and similar breakfast items. The government continues to protect domestic tyre companies from cheaper imports. The Director General of Trade Remedies has recommended continuation of anti-dumping duty on import of new or unused radial tyres from China. The decision follows appeals made by MRF, Apollo Tyres and JK Tyre Industries. SoftBank-backed OYO Hotels reviving its plans to check into the Lal Street. That's the buzzword today. It has filed an addendum to its previously submitted DRHP with SEBI. OYO has also reported its maiden EBITDA positive quarter, and losses have also narrowed. Yash Jain is joining us now with more details. Yash, OYO calling D Street again. What else are you picking up?
So, Ashmit, the entire delay which came about as far as OYO's IPO is concerned, that created a fair bit of uncertainty amongst primary market investors. But certainly the news today from OYO Hotels does bring a lot of relief. The company, that is OYO Hotels, has filed addendum to the DRHP, which it had earlier filed with market regulator SEBI. What does this mean? It is essentially updating that filed DRHP with SEBI with additional financial information. As far as that additional financial information is concerned, the company submitted financials for Q1 FY23 along with that DRHP with market regulator SEBI. And that's not all. We've been given to understand from our sources that the company also is looking to forward to filing the Q2 FY23 numbers with market regulator SEBI, and that could happen by October this year. Now, once the Q2 numbers have been filed with SEBI, that is when market regulator SEBI will start looking at the IPO proposal. And once the process from there on goes fine, then by the fourth quarter of FY23 is when OYO could look at launching its IPO. As far as the IPO itself is concerned, nothing else changes except for these updated financial documents. So, of course, the size of the IPO, that remains the same at about 8,430 crore rupees. Out of it, 7,000 crore rupees is the fresh issuance of equity, which means that money comes into the company at about 1,430 crore rupees is what selling shareholders would raise through selling their stake in the company. financials, they've improved significantly post-COVID. So as far as the financials are concerned, it's the story of narrowing losses and rebound in sales. Revenue from operations, that is up 21% for FY22. Losses, they've halved to about 1890 crore rupees. As far as the first quarter of FY23 is concerned, it is the maiden EBITDA positive quarter for the company. EBITDA positive of 7 crore, and the net loss has also come down to about 350 crore rupees.
Right, Yash, thanks a lot for all those updates coming in from the market. But moving ahead now, speaking of IPOs, German car manufacturer Volkswagen is expecting to raise over $9 billion from the initial public offering of its sports car brand Porsche. Now, the offer period is set to begin tomorrow with a planned trading start on September 29th. Volkswagen is eyeing a valuation of $75 billion in what is likely to be the largest IPO in Europe in more than a decade. Well, with that, it's time now for a very short break. But coming up on the other side, world leaders, including heads of states from US, France, Germany and others, are in London to attend the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Details when we come back. Welcome back. Now, a 27-year-old pregnant woman has died after she was allegedly run over by loan recovery agents. Now, the victim's father alleged that the recovery agents belonged to M&M Finance and they intentionally ran over his daughter when she tried to stop them from taking the tractor and asked for seizure of documents. Now, Union Minister of State for Education Annapurna Devi met the victim's family at their residence and promised speedy justice. Locals protested outside an M&M Finance outlet in the city. The police have filed a case of murder and investigations are currently underway. No arrests have been made so far. The chairman of M&M Group, Anish Shah, said, and I quote, "We will investigate this incident from all aspects and will also undertake an examination of the practice of using third-party collection agents that have been in existence. We stand with the family in this moment of grief." End of quote.
तुरंत इस पर सजा मिले, ऐसे लोगों को फास्ट ट्रैक सुनवाई के माध्यम से ऐसे लोगों पर सुनवाई होनी चाहिए। सजा अभी तो सबसे पहले कि तुरंत अभी चूंकि थाना प्रभारी यहाँ पे है, एसपी से भी बात करेंगे कि जितना जल्द हो सके गिरफ्तारी हो जो भी दोषी हैं, और गिरफ्तारी के साथ साथ जितना जल्द हो सके सुनवाई होकर ऐसे लोगों पर को सजा मिले।
बहुत ही दुखद घटना है, दुर्भाग्यजनक घटना है, जिसमें ट्रैक्टर रिकवरी के लिए एक कंपनी के लोग आए थे और उसी दौरान एक जो महिला है उसे उस ट्रैक्टर के धक्का लगने से उसकी मौत हो गई है। उसको बेरहमी से एक तरह से कहेंगे कि रौंदा गया है। तो उसमें हम लोग 302 का केस दर्ज कर रहे हैं, मर्डर का केस हम लोग दर्ज कर रहे हैं, और जो भी लोग इस घटना में शामिल है उनके विरुद्ध हम लोग सख्ती से कार्रवाई करेंगे।
Shifting focus now, Punjab government has constituted a 3-member all-women investigation team to probe the leak of objectionable videos from Chandigarh University's girls' hostel. Police has made 3 arrests so far, including a student. The university has suspended the hostel warden Rajvinder Kaur for alleged misbehavior with students. The university has also been shut for students till Saturday following protests by the students. Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav and other leaders of the party marched the state assembly from their party office to protest against the state government. However, they were stopped from entering the assembly due to lack of permission. A Delhi court stays trial court proceedings against former Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain in a money laundering case. The Enforcement Directorate had filed a plea urging that the case proceedings be transferred to a different judge. The Supreme Court refers a suo motu plea of framing guidelines on mitigating circumstances to be considered before issuing a death penalty to a 5-judge bench. The court says that the bench should decide authoritatively on when an accused can be given an opportunity to present mitigating circumstances before the death penalty is imposed. And in global news, Ukraine's military claims to have repelled military Russian attacks on Kherson and Kharkiv. Ukraine's President Zelensky says there will be no let-up in the counter-offensive to regain lost territory. Meanwhile, Russian pop star Alia Pugachev speaks out against the war in Ukraine. US President Joe Biden vows to defend Taiwan against China in case of an unprecedented attack while giving an interview to a television news channel. The Chinese government said that Biden's statements violates the One China policy and an important commitment made by America to not support Taiwan's independence. Leaders and royals from around the world are in London to attend the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen's coffin arrived at Westminster Abbey for the funeral after 4 days of the official lying in state period. Now, the 96-year-old monarch will be laid to rest after 11 days of her death. She will be buried with her late husband, Prince Philip. CNBC-TV18 Sanjay Suri gets us the latest from outside the Westminster Abbey. Sanjay, take us through the Queen's last journey here.
Well, we are in the last moments of the service that's underway at the Westminster Abbey behind here. And at the conclusion of that, there will be a 2-minute silence to be observed within the Abbey and indeed around the nation. That will be followed by the playing of a last piece that was particularly dear to the Majesty. We are now into the 2-minute silence.
Right, Sanjay. So that's, of course, the developments coming in from London there. Heads of state, including US President Joe Biden, was in fact visiting London to pay their final respects to Queen Elizabeth II. The 96-year-old monarch will be laid to rest today adjacent to her husband, Prince Philip. But that's all the time that we have for. It's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18. The news and updates continue on the other side.